and welcome to another episode of the Rich Cheese Radio podcast and a big Sike. Schmidt, I had to do it to him. I feel bad. I think they should expect it from someone like myself. I had to title our previous episode, our final episode, because it dropped on April Fools. I'm sure nobody appreciated that, but it's fine. I mean, I got a few responses via DM that were like the sad face, and I just sent back like Dr. Evil with the pinky up, and I think they got it. Some people understood, and they were like, "Haha, I get it," but
Yeah.
had to do it to him in your place for horological hot takes, taboo topics, and often unpopular watch opinions. It's been a big week. Um,
Yes.
I'm back here with the Schmidt. Schmidt, what's going on first and foremost?
Not a whole lot, man. Glad to be recording again. Again, it's been a little bit of a hiatus, but we figured, might as well sandbag this episode and just wait for all the goodies to drop this week before we start getting into the nitty gritty of watches and wonders. But other than that, man, everything's been good. How are things with you?
I did not have the best day, but it's behind me. We will prevail.
Always. That's the right mentality, my friend.
That's it.
Sometimes life sucks and you just got to keep it moving.
It does. I mean, and the worst part is like, I got a little guy. Well, I don't know, guy or girl coming in the next few weeks. Like,
Yeah.
there's good things ahead. It's just like, come on, not
Yeah.
needed. Not needed type stuff. But
I
it's all
hear
right.
you on
It's
that.
all right. We got so not only we get watches and wonders this week, we also got some other cool stuff kind of leading up to it that
Yes.
I made sure I had to put in the back of my head because I was like, these are actually really, really good or really cool and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to forget them. So we'll do that stuff first. And we can just talk, I guess, impressions, winners and losers. I mean, we're bound to forget some stuff. We're bound to breeze over a few things because there's so much to drop. I mean,
Way too much. Way too much.
look, I mean, all the independents are awesome, but like that's really not in our wheelhouse. I mean, definitely some of them stand out, but just like I don't think it's our thing. I don't think it's a lot of our listeners' things. So we're probably not going to talk too much on that.
Yeah.
A lot of the mainstream, a lot of the hits, a lot of the high expectations, what we got, what we didn't get, etc. We'll get into. Um, I guess we'll pick up where we left off at the end of last episode. We did get a black Snoopy Moose watch.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I,
And I like it a
I'm not gonna
lot.
lie, I think I like it better than the white.
I agree with you. I mean, I would be honestly be happy with either one. And I got two kids at home, so maybe I have to get two. Who knows? I jokingly mentioned that to my wife, and she's like, "That's like $600 in swatches." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is kind of like $600 in swatches." But
Ah,
you know
but
what?
but
Maybe
what's
it's
six
worth it.
hundred dollars in watches? Nada. That's the drop in the
I
bucket.
know, I know, I know. But we'll see. I mean, I would be happy with either one. I know they're still kind of hot, and I really haven't tried to hunt them down yet. But the Darth Snoopy, I think, is pretty sick.
That's funny. You got Darth Snoopy and the Stormtrooper,
You know?
right? You get the white one.
That's right. That's right.
That's funny. That's very funny. Yeah. So sort of as teased, as predicted. It's nice to come out with a prediction that works once in a while.
Hey,
Even though
we
it was pretty on the nose. It was they
it
were
was on
giving
the
it to you.
nose. It
They were
was on
giving
the
it to you.
nose for
How many
sure.
times
But
did they give you one that's so obvious and it turns out it's not that at all? And they're like, oh yeah, we just put a black hand on it. You're like, oh, that's not what I wanted.
it's like I wanted a whole murdered out one. And we got it. We got
Yeah.
it. I mean, it was nice that it was kind of on the nose, but also I think that's what helped with some of the hype and for everyone that kind of missed out on the initial white drop. Like this Darth Snoopy was kind of a second Easter egg, if you will. And it even made the collecting journey even more exciting because people got the white and they're like, "Oh crap, there's a black one. I got to get the matching set now." And so watch groups just laughing all the way to the bank. So
Well, that's the worst feeling if you're somebody who got the white and you're like, man, I really wish they made this in black. And then it comes out and you're like, shit.
we should I mean we should have known because Snoopy is a white and black dog, right?
uh, you know, Again, things make perfect sense. It's just sometimes, I think we're so traumatized by the way this industry works sometimes that you're just like, we should get a black one, right? We should get a blue Pelagos, in a smaller case, but who
Yeah.
knows, type of thing. But it is what it is. We'll see. Um, so that was cool. Doxa put out a new line of sub 200 tees. Now they already have a sub 200. If you're familiar with it, it's sort of a less conventional take for Doxa. These
Yeah.
newer ones are much more on brand. Like when you think Doxa, you think that sub 300 case. This looks much more like that. They kind of dialed back some of the specs on it,
Hmm.
but they
Hmm.
also made it's $1,500, which is, I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. Like especially if you're somebody, not that the sub 300 is so expensive, but if you're somebody who maybe doesn't collect in that realm, or you're somebody who just wants to add this Doxa look to your collection, and you haven't made peace with spending that much money to just add something cool like that. You're a fan, but you're not a huge Doxa fan. Here
Yeah.
you go. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
make them in 39 millimeters. As you said, might wear a little small because they're a lot of case and not so much dial. So it
Correct.
might look
And
a little
and it
smaller than expected.
yeah, and it just depends on which reference you get. Like so within the sub 300 line, which is what I have, they have the sub 300 and the sub 300T. The sub 300 is basically as close to the vintage proportions as possible. I think it's 42 mil case, but the dial aperture is very small. So it naturally wears much smaller on the wrist. So I'd imagine the sub 200T, not to be confused with the sub 200, will have that same kind of design. Now the 300T is your bigger version of the 300. They're going to have similar designs, but you'll notice that the minute hand is slightly longer. It's a little bit more thicker of a case profile. And I think these come in around 43 or 44. So it just depends on which version of the Doxa you're getting to get that respective case size. Um, the 300T is also a much higher depth rating.
Yes.
I believe they have the helium escape valves as well, whereas the standard sub 300 like I have does not.
Right. And these also come in a variety of flavors, not only dial colors, but also dial finishes.
Yeah,
You do get
they're
you get sort
nice.
of a matte, or you get like the typical docks you're used to, or you get a sunray finish, which
Yes.
kicks it up a notch as per Emerald. But it gives you some options, so you can get them both on bracelet or both on strap. Just expanding out that docks line. So really cool stuff. I know I kind of caught them at the front end of Watches and Wonders, and I was like, put this in the back of your mind. I was like, this is a cool one just to have in there because it's again, you could just add this to your collection. I mean, this is the same price as a Seiko now, so it is what it is.
Yeah, that is, oh God, I didn't even think about that. That's totally true, isn't
Boom.
it? Oh man, it's like why buy a Prospects when you could buy a freaking Dux? Wow, that's kind of disappointing, isn't it?
I just put that together. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, man, I am in love with these 200Ts. I am aquamarine sunray finish dial all the way. Let's go.
Yeah, they're definitely neat. But you know what? I feel like this is examples of how the industry sometimes kind of reads the room.
Yeah,
And
it gives the people what they want.
like I talk all the time about, listen, man, money's hard to come by these days. I can't imagine people are lining up to dump tons of money into watches right now. But you know what? You give them
Yeah.
something in this range, and they're like, maybe I
I
could
can
swing that.
yeah, I could splurge
Maybe
just a little bit.
maybe I can't jump on the Black Bay 58 GMT, but you know what? Maybe this might be my purchase for the year because
Yeah.
it's in my wheelhouse. It's in that range of affordability. Some people got to tighten up. It is what it is. Um,
Yep.
no shame in that. It's being responsible, but at the same time, you could still get a kick ass timepiece out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to settle and be like, oh well, I guess I'll just get something ho hum. Nah, this is sick. Anybody will respect this.
And it's a brand with pedigree. I mean, this is an iconic watch. It's a brand with pedigree. It's a brand with a cool vibe to it. I mean, like you said, this is a watch that people are not going to snub their nose at. It's respectable for sure.
Yeah. All right. I guess let's get on to the festivities. For those of you who've been living under a rock, it was Watches and Wonders this year.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun. No, I didn't go.
Yeah, definitely did not go. Those round trips flights to Geneva, they're kind of expensive. So
A couple of people I was sort of joking around with, like, yeah, well, we should go next year. I'm like, yeah, talk to like your boss and get them to fly us out, and I'll be there.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Uh, jokes aside, a decent show. Definitely a variety of stuff. Some things to be excited about. Some things kind of leaving you scratching your head.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe not perhaps the watches and blunders of old, but it's certainly a myriad of different offerings. Again, we're probably not gonna be able to hit everything. We'll get to a lot of the stuff I'm sure everybody's seen, everybody has an opinion on. Um, One thing I did notice this year, this is the year of the complainers because I don't know every single watch, somebody has something to say about everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
Even
like that's
ones I was
me.
like, oh man, this is a hit. People are like, it has this, it has that. And I'm like, man, we are really splitting hairs here. Like these comment sections are brutal.
Oh yeah, they were rough. They're very, very, very rough. But I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, let's be honest. This has probably been the best watches and wonders that we've had in the last, 3 years. Which I
Certainly
think that was kind of,
interesting. Yeah,
I think that was kind of what was that? The first watches and wonders was 21,
I
22,
think
something like
so.
that.
Sounds right.
So I mean, like I think this is the third time that we've covered watches and wonders in this format, and it's been good. I mean, there was stuff that I was like, okay, somebody brought some heat, some fire, some unique stuff. Am I in love with everything? No. I mean, I think, we'll get to this in a little bit, but I think there were some brands that were really under impressive to me that everyone was like, this is it. This is the fire. And I'm like, okay, I disagree completely. But there was some stuff that really surprised me that I was like, okay, that's awesome. I love this. But you're right, man. The comment section, whew, it was hot
I
and
was like, wow, all
dirty.
right. I was like,
This
we
everything's bad.
we can't have anything nice.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped
Exactly.
over one thing before we get into the Watch and Wonder stuff. Nomos put out the
Oh,
what I like to
yes.
call the Baskin Robbins line, which is the 31 flavors. They released 31 different limited editions colorways on the 38 millimeter Tangente, and they're cool. I like them a lot. It's just funny. 31 flavors, 31 colors. I don't know, but they're all sort of mixed up in the way Nomos does with the small seconds windows and things. I like them. They're fun. They're playful. I think you and I are both fans of Nomos. I've become a bigger fan of Nomos. I think since doing this show. I
Yeah.
every time they come out with something, I'm like, this is neat. This is neat. This is neat. I'm like, I don't hate this. Like, so
No.
I think they were sort of off my radar, but since I've had to pay attention, I'm like, I could get into this. And so these, I like them. I think they're neat and playful, sort of what they bring to the table. Nothing wild and outlandish, but fun.
Yeah. So what's up with that chili dial?
There is a chill down there.
What's up with that chili dial there? Come on.
There's a
I know
few
the
that I was like, oh, there's gonna be a good nickname for this.
Oh man, there's a lot of cool stuff. But Nomas, you know where to find us. We love you. Thank you for everything you do. And LEs on all of these,
Yeah,
175 pieces per
175
each
piece
ones.
each.
Yeah. But I like that. It's 32 flavors though, right?
Is it? I thought it was 31.
Is it 31? I could be totally tripping. No, you're 100% right. I am totally tripping. It is 31 flavors. Yes.
Yeah. Um. All right, so we can truck
Good
into
for
the
you.
watches and wonders stuff. I guess we'll just kind of kicking back and forth on stuff we like, stuff we didn't like. I thought there was a decent amount of things that I enjoyed. First of all, I mean, I gotta give props to IWC. The IWC Eternal
Yes.
calendar is bonkers.
That watch was one of the ones that really, really impressed me.
And on
And
top of it, you had Giselle there to unveil it.
I know, like,
I was like,
what better ambassador than one of the most beautiful women on planet Earth, to really introduce this
they
watch.
were like, here you go, perfection, perfection. Here,
I will
that's
I will say this, that was IWC really impressed me this year,
they
and
had
and
a
just
they had a lot of nice stuff.
and just kind of overarchingly, because I'm not going to go through each respective reference. There's just not enough time. There's too
Yeah,
much.
no way.
I will say these are kind of my hot takes on IWC. Technological prowess, unparalleled at the show. Um, Colorways also unparalleled. I think that they did really, really well, especially with their new Horizon Blue,
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say they
Dune
were they were a
colors,
little out of their comfort zone with that.
the Obsidian. All of those were really beautiful executions. My favorite is definitely anything with the Horizon Blue. The Perpetual that they did in that color is
Oh, it's
just,
sweet.
it's amazing. But to your point, one of my favorite watches of the entire show. was the Eternal Calendar, just because of how freaking insane it is. I mean, this is a perpetual watch with
45 million years, I heard.
45 million years.
That's insanity.
And within that 45 million years, it's theorized that they could be potentially off one day out of the entire lunar calendar for 45 million years.
Not that anybody would know.
I mean, and that's kind of their marketing too. It's like, hey, look, you just got to take our word for it because we'll all be dead.
Which
I
is
mean,
exactly what you should do because there's no way
I
to
mean, how
verify
can
it. You know what I
I
mean? You
mean,
have to lean into that one.
how can you not lean into that? Like that is one of the most gangster marketing things. It's like, look, man, we use a supercomputer. We ran hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of simulations to create the perfect gearing ratio for this intermediate wheel for the moon phase so that it would be completely accurate of a lunar cycle for 45 million years, give or take one day. I was like, what? And then on top of that, the watch just looks awesome.
Yeah, it's
It's a
very good
really
looking.
cool watch.
And realistically, I mean, I know it's 155 grand, but we've seen stupider watches come out for more money than that.
Way more money than that.
I mean, anything Richard Mill puts out, right?
Yeah. And it can't even do what this thing does. Like this is now a Guinness Book World Record, I think, is what they were saying, is because I think the previous world record holder for some type of calendar thing that could do something similar than this was like 2 million years.
Wow.
So they upped it by like that much, which is just unbelievably insane. So I know we talk about IWC a lot, and sometimes we have kind of a big nitpick with them on certain designs and stuff like that. But I will say this unequivocally. I'm gonna go out on a limb to say this, and I know there's a listener who works for IWC who's probably gonna be jumping for joy at me saying this. IWC really brought it this year. I was very impressed with everything they came out with, and kudos to you guys because you crushed it
Yeah.
in my book.
And that's why I wanted to start there. I mean, first of all, they didn't cram Big Pilot down your throat,
Nope.
right? They didn't they brought color to a brand that's mostly predominantly black, white,
Yeah.
this,
They're
that,
they're they're Pantone, they're military colors, they're pilot watches. You know what I mean? Like this was nice to see. It was good.
It really was. I was very impressed by their stuff. I mean, even their precious metal stuff looked really good. I was just like, all right, they got it. And I'm a sucker for their moon phases. I really love the way they do that.
Yeah.
And just their overall complications all look are just very well placed, very well thought out.
Yeah.
Just overall, really, really crushed it. I
I
thought
mean, if I had $47,000, I'd be rocking a Portuguese Perpetual in Horizon Blue, 100%.
it's a badass watch.
I mean, it is 100% a badass watch. There's no question about it. I was very, very happy to see what they did, and I even took the time. They did a live stream during Watches and Wonders in the middle of the day, which would have been sometime at night for Geneva, and I just like was enthralled. They did an Instagram live, and I was just enthralled with the fact that they did all this stuff and they communicated it so well. The artistry, the technological development that went into this, it was just very charismatic, very engaging, and I think that was part of the reason too why I felt they did such a good job is because the way in which they explained that technology, the process of how they actually created it was also just as interesting as what they created. So
Yeah,
kudos to
really
you,
cool,
IWC.
really cool release. Another brand that we've kind of been counting on to keep bringing it. Tag Heuer put out some interesting stuff. I thought.
Yes.
We got a gold.
Expensive, but
Yeah.
but
Yes.
nice.
Yes. We got a gold version of the Skipper, which is cool. Not necessarily super novel, but it's cool. We also got another rendition of their glass box configuration. It's a Bicompax Panda in 39 millimeters. Looks really good.
But it is a three sub dial chrono.
Yes, it is. It's a little elusive. It's
Yeah,
deceptive in that regard, especially because when I first looked at the pictures, it has it's got the hand sort of oriented in a way I couldn't see, but yeah, it is a
yeah,
three sub dial chrono.
yeah. It just looks like a
It looks
traditional two
right.
sub dial Panda.
It
Yeah,
does. Yeah, they left one of them is if you haven't seen it, there's two with the panda eyes at 9 and 3, and then the 6 is it doesn't have the it doesn't look like a sub register. It doesn't have a circle around it. It's just dial color. So it looks like a two register, but it's really a three register.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is like I said, 39 millimeters. And like you said, quite expensive.
Yeah,
Coming in
yeah.
at 6,500. Yeah, I don't know, man. Watches are just not getting cheaper.
No,
Do I don't expect them to, but like, man,
and you know, talking about expensive watches. I mean, did you see the Roger bonds that they came out with?
yeah.
I mean, amazing, absolutely freaking awesome. Monaco Rattrapant is an
Yes,
entirely new
those were cool.
movement. I mean, they had this very funky X bridge design, but man, $138,000. Did you know they were that expensive?
I saw six figures and I was like, oh my God.
I was like, guys.
Again, Eternal Calendar, 155.
I mean, yeah, exactly. God, that even puts it words in perspective. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's crazy. Is like this is a grade 5 titanium case. It's got some sapphire crystal, some things like that. It has the Rattrapant complication, cool, but it's $138,000. And for $15,000 more, you could buy an Eternal Calendar. That's nuts, right?
Yeah, it is. It certainly is.
I mean, I was gonna say this though. I mean, it's an awesome freaking watch. It just looks crazy. I like the red one more than the blue version because the blue one kind of has like this gradient bridge finish. And I know we talked about this when they released the titanium Monacos, I think sometime last year when we had the Johnny
Oh, the
Five,
Johnny Five, yeah.
the Johnny Five. It just it was just funny. It's like this is kind of like that same type of aesthetic, but I think a little less uh I think the other versions were nicer integrated in design. These like X bridges are very pronounced, but I get it. I mean, it's a skeletonized watch, so
Yeah.
very interesting design. But man, 138 grand is a lot.
You know what occurred to me, and maybe I just completely missed it, and only because I kind of keep them in the same part of my brain, I guess. Breitling, did they do anything for the show?
Uh,
I don't think I saw anything from them.
Not that I recall either, actually,
Is that
because I
is
think
that kind of weird?
I mean they've been doing their own like Breitling cast things. I mean, I can't remember if we talked about it on the last one, but the Navitimers in 41 with GMT. Did we talk about those?
I can't remember to be honest, because I know we were talking about the Norcanes that kind of looked like the Panda Navatimers that came out, but I don't know if we talked about.
Yeah, so Breitling, like a week or two prior to Watches and Wonders, they launched a new set of Navitimers, and again, it's Navitimer in name only. It's
Yeah.
got a slide rule bezel, but it's a 41 millimeter GMT. And they made a few of those, and I think they made a 40 millimeter as well, which is like time only. I'm sorry, 41 millimeter, also time only. And they're okay looking, like they look nice, but it's just like it's never going to be a Navitimer to me. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. I don't think they've released really anything else. They came out with a new gold cosmonaut, which is okay, cool, but it's like a limited edition and solid gold, so basically irrelevant for most people. But yeah,
But
I don't.
but did they I didn't are they were they at the show?
No, I don't. I don't believe that they were.
That's that's a little weird, no? I mean,
I
especially
mean,
wasn't it like 2 years ago they had Kern driving a plane?
flying a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Flying the old vintage plane with all the press people, and he's pushing the cart full of watch.
Yeah, like
We're gonna do our in-flight service now, and oh look, here's a Navitimer.
and
Like,
now they're
oh.
like, we'll skip the show.
And honestly, if I remember correctly, bro, I think that launch was prior to Watches and Wonders.
Was it? That was like the
Yeah, it was
opening
like
festivities or
I
something?
think it was like a week before.
Okay, because I remember it being lumped into the coverage with all the press people on it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, honestly, man, there's just been nothing from them that's been overly exciting. I mean, we've been talking about this, last year going into this year. I mean, we're not even getting hits about, these pieces coming out. I mean, you and I had to literally look it up to see if they released anything.
It's a little weird. I mean, I
It's
don't know.
just odd,
Maybe they're doing
man.
like an overhaul over there. Maybe they're moving some stuff around, trying to. Maybe
I
they're
don't
just
know.
really trying to get UG off the ground. I don't know.
Yeah, it could very well be that, but right now what they're releasing is leaving a lot to be desired.
Yeah, a shame because
Yeah.
again, like I say, I always think for some reason I always think Tag Heuer, Breitling because like those are brands. I'm like, all right, let's go. You got to get it together. Come on, show me something. And at least Tag's been trying. It seems like.
No, I mean they're trying, and in some cases they I think are succeeding. But you know, when you look at what they're capable of, which is something that is awesome as this split seconds chrono, I mean it's fantastic. But what is the identity here for this brand? Like what price point do you want to be at?
Yeah,
That's the thing I think Tag needs to answer for themselves. Like where do you want to be price wise?
yeah, they're still very much stuck in that Tag and Hoyer situation.
Yeah, I mean I've said it, man. I've said it. Man, did I tell you I saw one of those dados, those green dados in store,
Oh
and
no, I don't think you did.
I almost pulled the trigger. I was like, it's just so cool. Oh, that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's next? What do we got next?
I think Zenith had a decent show. Kind of unconventional for them, but a decent show.
Yeah, but Zenith is an unconventional brand.
They are. They are that.
They really do beat to the sound of their own drum, and that's cool, man. I can respect that. I wasn't overly like amazed about their Skyline
I was
Chronos.
to say that, which this is why I thought it was an unconventional show because I was less impressed by the chronographs and more impressed by the divers.
Well, I mean, like, what other watch is a Zenith diver? Like, I don't know of another version that they have done. I mean, they did kind of like the historical piece, which really caught my attention with the bright orange or
The
black color
Defy
scheme.
diver.
The Defy Diver Revival, which is awesome.
Yep,
And
very
then they
cool.
came out with the Extreme Divers, which are freaking cool. I love the interchangeable strap system that they developed. Price point's high. I mean, it's 11.3.
I mean,
But
their watches are kind of expensive to begin with, so yeah.
yeah, I mean, but I get it. They're high beat movements. There are all these things, and I believe this is a titanium case. It's got a very aggressive angular finishing to it. It has the ability to swap out the bracelets to a NATO style strap to a textile style strap very easily.
Yep.
I think overall it's a good looking watch. I think somebody would be very lucky to own one. It's just very funky and very much its own Zenith design. I could have done without all the kind of embossed stars into the dial.
Yeah, it's sort of their thing lately, huh?
It is, but I mean, that was probably the only thing that I could have done without. But other than that, I think it's a good looking watch for a modern take on a diver. Um, looks good. What are you gonna say?
No, I thought it was cool, and I really liked the Defy too. I thought it was just. I mean, obviously it's a bit of vintage sort of homage there, but it looks really good. I think sort of their modern take on it's really nice. I think they're both 600 meters, if I saw
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, exactly. So the Defy diver, I think is like I think they classified it as like 1969 feet, which I think 1969 is the creation year for the El Primero, if I'm
Oh,
not mistaken.
that's funny.
So I think that they went with that, and I think the other version, let's see, because I don't know it off the top of my head. Yes, 60 atmospheres, so 600 meters. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would just buy the Defy Revival because I just think it's so freaking cool. And again, it's in like your sweet spot. It's 37
Yeah,
millimeters.
it's an interesting watch, man. I gotta say.
I'm like, all right, I can see this. This is cool. I like it. And it's funky. It's like these are kind of rare like 70s like Zeniths and late 60s, early 70s Zeniths, and it's just why not? I mean, they've been doing a lot of revival series watches in the past, and this is probably the first one that I've been like, okay, that's the business because it's a diver and it's funky and
Yeah.
cool and orange.
Yeah, you still get the Star Rotor and stuff. It's just cool.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
a brand.
nice mix
I
between
really do
old and
like.
new.
I really do like their brand. They just make expensive watches.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk Cartier?
I mean,
Because
the, I don't really know what you want to say about them. I just know that they dropped probably the dumbest watch I've seen at the show, which was the Let Me Tell the Time Backwards watch.
the revival. No, I'm sorry, the rewind.
Rewind.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just get into this because again, Cartier just seems to be everywhere all of a sudden. We've been talking about this phenomenon for I don't know several episodes now, and you and I have been speculating that Richemont is really pumping the marketing in for a lot of coverage on Cartier.
I mean,
So
you can based on things that you have heard in your neck of the woods and stuff that I've read and just who I know is in sort of the realm I play in, I think they've gotten very big into the influencer marketing space,
yes, yes,
and that's what it is. And
yeah.
it's it is working for them because that's what
I mean,
the
let's
crowd that
be
is
on.
going to buy these eats that up.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. When you and I got into watches, owning a Cartier was a joke. It was a joke
Well, I tell
because
you where it always comes from for me. I always listen. I'm from Long Island. I'm from the North Shores where I grew up. This was a watch that all the moms in the neighborhood wore.
yeah,
Like that's what it was. Like I was.
yeah.
I don't know.
And
I mean,
and
they're
and
not.
keep in mind. Remember, just a few short years ago, when Cara Barrett had to come to this lady's defense because she was on a Houdinki Talking Watches episode about her Cartier watches.
Oh, I remember that. That was
And remember when
Real
everyone
Housewives,
just,
right?
yeah, yeah, and remember when everyone just like ripped her to shreds about these fashion watches, these aren't horological pieces, and just a few short
Oh, and
years
she liked it
later,
because it was a quartz. I remember. She was like,
exactly.
I don't have to reset it, and people were like,
Yeah,
"What
yeah,
a
and
nerd!"
people were like, what? It's not mechanical. It's not even like an MC movement. Like I don't understand. Um, they tore her apart, and now you have watch influencers within the industry who are avid watch collectors. Are like, yeah, I want to wear a
Like
quartz tank. I'm like,
pumping this
what?
out.
Okay, whatever. So I mean, there's obviously some stuff behind it. It's working for them. They've changed a lot of the sentiment of what Cartier is perceived to be as in terms of the watch space, which is good for them. I guess overall, it's good for the consumer. Just a few short things that came out. Some updates to the Santos models. There was a new two tone with the anthracite dial that came out. There's a kind of a new brown color. There was a few green dials in the Pasha line, things like that. The one that kind of stuck out to me the most was probably the dual time within the Santos line. Did you see this one?
I'm not sure. I probably glazed right over it. I'll be honest with you. I'm really just
I know
not enthused
it doesn't
by this
appeal. I know,
stuff.
but people don't like it. I guess this one was okay because it was unexpected. But essentially, it was a Cartier Santos large with an anthracite gray dial and a dual time indication. So it has a secondary hour hand on a small sub dial to point to basically twin time. So you can have essentially a GMT watch, which is cool. I think it was cool. I think the only small complaint that I can make about this watch is I felt as though the font that was used for the sub dial was a little bit less congruent with the overall dressiness of the Roman numerals and the typeface that Cartier traditionally uses. And they do make Arabic numbered dials in the Santos Dumont collection that they probably could have used some of those stylized numbers to incorporate into the sub dial. Super minute pick, very, very in the weeds kind of thing. But again, I'm gonna call it like I see it. You guys appreciate our honesty, so I'm gonna be honest. The Cartier Rewind, dumbest watch I think I have ever seen in the last 10 years. Um, it is one of those watches that to me epitomizes the level of arrogance that sometimes people who own these watches can possess because this watch is like $35,000 or somewhere around that price point and you can't even read the time. Like I was staring at a press photo trying to consciously tell my brain what time it was and for 5 minutes I couldn't do it. So I could only imagine trying to do this consistently throughout the day. You're going to The only reason you would buy this watch is because you just think you're better than everybody else, and you can afford to wear a watch that basically doesn't even keep time.
Well, that was sort of when you said arrogance. I thought that's where you're going with it because that's how it kind of I felt about it. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna wear a watch, but it's not for the reason you intend to wear a
Yeah,
timekeeping device. You know,
and it's a manual one too. It's not a quartz movement. It's a
that's
manual one.
interesting.
So it's a manual wind movement that was intentionally designed to run backwards. I'm like, what? What level of just ridiculousness and arrogance is there where that is the perception? We're just like, yeah, we're gonna go with this. Then the one that everyone's been gushing over is the new Tortue collection from Cartier. Don't get your hopes up, guys, because you'll never see these watches. These are collection privé pieces, which means that these are very small production runs. They're basically from the archives of Cartier's past catalog. Everyone is gushing over the Mono Pusher Tortue, the time only Tortue. Everyone's calling it one of the best watches at Watches and Wonders, and that's certainly probably true. But it's a watch that you will never see. If you are a person thinking that you can walk into a Cartier boutique and buy this watch, you are sadly mistaken. These watches are already pre-sold. Like they're done. These go to very, very exclusive um, uh, retailers for Cartier. They go to very exclusive boutiques, and in most cases, they are really boutique only. But even amongst the boutiques, because I have people that I know that work at Cartier boutiques today, I'll message them just because I'm curious. Like, yeah, I'll never see this watch. There's no way it's going to go because Cartier has a very big presence and footprint in other world markets. Those pieces are gobbled up in those markets before they ever come to the US. What comes to the US is the last little dribbles of remaining pieces that they have to get rid of. That's what the US will get. So let's say they make 100 of these Tortue Mono Pusher Chronos in platinum and yellow gold. Uh, maybe two will come to the US because the other 98 will be sold in Asia, in Germany, or wherever.
All
So
right.
everyone's getting all gushy about them, but you'll never see them. So it's completely irrelevant. I think that that's it from Cartier. Also, Cartier has the worst website to navigate right now for novelties. You literally have to scroll through every single freaking page to see, and all these watches like do these animations, and I'm just looking for the reference number or the information. I can't give it to you guys because their website is horribly bad right now. Trying to navigate all of these like artistic Salvador Dali esque images of what a Cartier watch should look like. But there you go,
Yeah.
Cartier.
I thought it was kind of I thought it was a weird year for Paddock a little bit. I know they went with like those like
What are
artist
they
styles.
doing? What
Yeah.
are they doing,
But
man?
let's talk for 1 second. Blue jean strap.
Oh my God. It's like Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears all over again, dude. It's bad. Like
Like, is this
I,
for the Duck Dynasty? Is that who this is for? Like people who made bajillions of dollars, but they're like
they
out in the
don't wear that
sticks.
kind of stuff. This is a watch for like Luke Combs, you know what I mean? Like the Duck Dynasty dudes don't wear this stuff. You know, this is for the collector. It's like, oh my God, Paddock is trying to be like the watch of the people. This is so interesting. It's so out of the norm for them.
I
You
every
know?
time I see it, I think of Super Troopers who's like, ah, nice Canadian tuxedo, denim Dan.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is. Um, I remember again, it's so crazy how perceptions change depending on the brand, right? I remember when the Blue Jean Railmaster came out from Omega, and everyone just lit it on fire as one of the worst designed watches of all time. And here we have a literally denim strap Canadian tuxedo Paddock. Okay, well, I think it's the 5980 is the reference,
Yeah, it is. It's a 59.
and the watch arguably is beautiful.
I
Like
know.
literally the dial and the case, it's a gorgeous watch. And then you married it to the redneck hillbilly stepsister who also happens to be your cousin. You know what I mean? Like you paired it with the most ostentatiously horrible strap option choice you could have. And to me, it just completely destroys the entire watch.
You know, there. Some people go for the high low. This is as far apart as the high and
Uh,
low as you can get.
they're not even in the same like galaxy. You know what I mean? Like the watch arguably is beautiful. The finishing, okay, it's a Patek. You get what you get. Amazing. The dial color, that kind of like light grayish blue, unbelievably beautiful. Complication, flyback chrono. I mean, unbelievably beautiful. But to put it on that disgusting faded acid wash denim jean strap, and then to seriously present this as a luxury timepiece is a disgrace.
Look, if you wanted to give it as an extra strap, like a
I get it.
bonus of some kind of weird throw in,
Yeah.
some homage to some
Hey,
famous denim.
hey, we know this is
You
like
love Levi Strauss.
and even then, it's like Oris already tried that and it didn't work so well. Okay. They already tried to do the selvage denim with the Japanese, and
Oh,
that
I
was
remember
like,
that.
and that was
Motaro.
actually, yeah, yeah, exactly. But that was actually like collectible denim, like this is just like who knows where this comes from. But you're absolutely right. Like I can understand if you wanted to put this off and be like, look, we know this is a Paddock. This is your choice of strap. We're throwing in this denim strap because it's kind of the designer's motif that they want to go with. But we understand that this won't be everyone's taste, but you'll get the strap as complimentary from us. Okay, you can do it. I mean, how much is this watch? Ridiculous. But
Yep.
why?
Yeah,
Like,
we're
why
gonna
would you
give
do
you
this?
we're gonna give you an extra set of spinner rims with your Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that meme. You're like, how you doing, fellow kids? Like we're just like trying to hang out. It's like we're the grandfather's watch manufacturer trying to understand the millennial and Gen Z market, and we don't understand it at all because we're just a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah, it
Like that is the perception that I get from Paddock right now. They're like, all right, guys, how are we going to appeal to Gen Z? We're going to put an orange chronograph hand on it with a gray dial. My God, we've done it. You
like
know what
all
I mean?
these
Like
all these
that's
goddamn kids are wearing Royal Oaks. What are we gonna do? Denim strap.
that'll teach them.
Yeah,
That'll learn them. But no, I mean, again, watch is amazing. The worst strap choice they could have ever put
just
on that. It
so
was it
weird.
was bad enough in a $5,000 Railmaster. I can't even imagine what this is on a paddock of this quality. Like it's not even the same universe. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
ridiculous, ridiculous,
While
ridiculous.
we're in the Trinity again, I that was one that stuck out to me. One that stuck out in a good way. I did really like this gold and green overseas collection.
Okay, from VC.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. I mean, I think they just really look nice. Is it anything
it's nothing
out there?
groundbreaking or
No.
noteworthy, but it's a nice addition to the overseas collection, 100%. I think that green and gold colorway just looks awesome together. I think it's a very, beautifully congruent colorway. And again, they didn't really change anything. It's not really,
No.
I mean, nothing aesthetically that I thought was like, oh, this is so different. It's just a good looking watch, especially in the travel time that for them. That's just a beautiful overseas. There's no question about it. Um, I will say this, because we did talk about um Paddock so far. I mean, we got to talk about the Golden Ellipse.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That watch for me was like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I like it a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, because for me, I love the esoteric type stuff, and the Golden Ellipse, from the '70s and the '80s that Patek came out with, was just a very beautiful watch. And I think just now I'm starting to see it get more traction on social media and all these things, and collectors are looking for this piece again, which is cool. But for Patek to go out and do a new version of it, I think it's so cool, especially on a handmade golden mesh bracelet. Like that is the most Scarface esque, 70s, 80s cocaine kingpin flex watch that I've seen in a very long time. And I'm here for it. Um, I also really loved as much as I'm
I
not
think
a
Trump's got one now.
I mean, probably,
I
who
think he does.
knows?
I think I see the wear.
I mean, who knows? Who knows, right? But the other watch that I was quite impressed with, that again, it's not in my wheelhouse at all, but I can appreciate artistry when artistry is there. is the diamond and blue sapphire Aquanaut that they came out with. Have you seen this one?
I did. Hey, I saw something. I don't know if you saw this. Somebody sent this to me. I don't know if it's true or not. That they took all of the water resistance down to 30 meters on everything, Nautilus and Aquanaut.
Really?
Somebody sent me that, and I was like, "Are you pranking me, or is this a joke?" But I don't think it is.
Water resistance at 30 meters.
I'll
Go
have to
down
double
crown.
check it. But I was like, "Oh
Whoa. Let's see what the let's see. Water resistance at 30 meters for the new Canadian tuxedo paddock.
That's what I'm saying. Patek Philippe has decided to introduce a new unified standard of water resistance set at 30 meters for all watches certified as water resistant.
Water resistance 30 meters.
Just, I mean,
Wow.
not that that's look, not that that's bad, but if you're gonna have things called Nautilus and Aquanaut, it's just a little strange.
Well, especially because the original ones were like 200 meters or something like that.
You know,
Okay, so speaking of watches, did you see the new Aquanaut travel time
yes.
with a quartz movement? What? Is this
maybe,
your girlfriend's quartz?
maybe they're trying to keep costs down. I don't know.
I mean, my God. Sometimes things are just a hit, and sometimes you're like, what? Is this coming from the same company? And it was funny because like I watched several videos on this new quartz Aquanaut travel time, and it's 38 millimeters. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And they're like, "Wait, quartz?" And I had to watch videos 4 or 5 times to make sure that I heard that they said quartz because I was like, there's no freaking way. There's no freaking way that they came out with a golden ellipse, a white gold Nautilus chronograph, and then a Canadian tuxedo, this beautiful blue sapphire and diamond Aquanaut, and they came out with a quartz version. I'm like, what year is this? Okay, I'm just insane to me, insane to me. Um, but yeah, there you go. There's my paddocks.
All right. I guess since we were playing around in green and gold, I guess we'll go over to Tudor. I don't love their green and gold offering that much, but I
No,
thought it was a very good showing for them. I would, I'll give them credit because usually we bag on them for doing Rolex stuff that Rolex is doing already, or that they're trying to push out that nobody wants. I will give them the credit that where they deserve. First of all, I mean the 58 GMT is something that people have been asking for a long
yeah,
time. I was
yeah,
surprised to see it because of that, because it was one of those things that I think a lot of people put aside as never coming. Never,
yeah.
we're never gonna get it. Like if we get a Pelagos GMT next year, that would be equally as shocking. I think people have tried for that. People have hoped for this. I'm shocked we got it. I'm shocked they gave it to us in this semi Coke ish configuration because
Yeah.
everybody was kind of wetting their pants, hoping that the Coke was back for the
You knew it
GMT
wasn't going
Master.
to. You knew it
You
wasn't
know,
going to.
even with the sleuthy patent finding, it said you can make a certain amount of hues in there. And what did they do? They slapped together silver and black, which we'll get to in a
Yeah.
minute. But
Yeah.
I was impressed they gave us this. I was impressed they took text off the dial. They
Yeah.
made it master chronometer. It's not insanely thick. It's 12.8, which is really not bad. I find that weird that people call that thick, considering it's like a millimeter thicker than the original Black by 58.
I mean,
I don't know. It's
there's
just very strange. Again, the nitpicking going on this year is insane.
it's because people have gotten too big for their britches, man. It's just
It
really
is.
hard.
It is. Look, I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of guilt, but I don't think it's atrocious here.
No. No.
Um, I don't know. I think it's a good release. I think it's great. I think it's great that they gave us something we wanted. Some people again are on about the rivets. You don't have to buy it on the rivets. You can wear it on
You
rubber. You
can
can.
I mean, for me
Uncle
this
Seiko will make you a rivetless bracelet. Like,
I mean, and honestly, for me, the only way to wear this watch would be on the rubber. I think that they did a very nice rubber strap for these Black Bays, especially starting with the Black Bay Burgundy last year in 41, continuing with the new one in the Black Bay Monochrome. We'll get to that in a minute. I agree with you. This is a welcomed release. It's a breath of fresh air release from Tudor. because I really felt that Tudor had to give us something because they knew Rolex really wasn't going to give us much.
Well,
And
I'll get back to that in a minute, but keep going.
yeah, and yeah, we're going to focus on Tudor for a minute here. But I mean, I always feel like in the years where Tudor gives us a little bit more, it's because Big Brother doesn't give us as much. And when you think about last year, what did we really get that was of note from Tudor?
Was that the year we got root beer?
I
I think
I
it
I
was, but
I
again, like it
I
was
don't
stuff
even
that
know.
Rolex is already doing. You know,
I couldn't even remember besides the Black Bay 41. So I think that was really a year when Rolex shined. Because what did Rolex give us last year? They give us the Le Mans Chrono, the Daytona,
discontinued.
discontinued, sure, but we'll get to that again. But they also gave us what was that the left hand GMT,
Yeah, they brought out the 1908.
the 1908. There was some cool things. It was a relatively big year for them, even though to me it was not a big year for Rolex. But it was a big year for them overall. So I think this year, because it was a little bit lackluster of a year for the Crown, Tudor had to give us something. I think, as you mentioned, 39 millimeter Black Bay GMT has been asked about for years and years and years and years and years. I'm sure if you go back 5 years, there's a monochrome post about a Tudor Black Bay GMT somewhere in terms of a prediction, right? Um, I think it's welcomed. I don't think it's expressly revolutionary or amazing in the sense that you know, it was unexpected and they gave us something new and totally original. No, people have been asking about this for years. I thought it was very surprising that we got the avocado green Black Bay 58 in gold. This really, to me, is the advance yourself on the wait list watch. Um, Basically, like, let's give you a $32,000 spend history because you can't buy a gold sub, but we'll get you a gold Black Bay 58, and that'll help your chances getting you a sub,
What
right?
about Gold Sea Dweller?
I mean, again, we'll get to that. But the thing that pissed me off about this watch is we had a version of it that came out last year
Right.
on strap, right? Okay, cool. $18,000, a not expensive gold watch, but not inexpensive gold watch. Now it kicks it up to 32 with the bracelet. It's not master chronometer. Like you introduced the first version. Okay, I get it. Whatever. You were just starting to experiment with master chronometer movements, but you have them in the Black Bay. And for us, for Tudor to come out with a watch that is the highest in their catalog in terms of price and not deliver it with the best technology possible, I think is a slap in the face to the consumer. And I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because realistically, the person buying this $32,000 Black Bay is really just trying to up the wait list to go up the status of that store spend history. That's really what this watch is to me. It's the only reason why I think it exists. But it's just very interesting to me that you wouldn't come out with your best movement in your best watch theoretically.
I mean, and slightly so, you have been saying that they do now have it in the standard Black Bays. They have it in the mini GMT now. It's
Yeah,
weird that they wouldn't put it in this one
yeah.
because
I
they're
mean,
capable of doing it.
100%, 100%. It's very possible that they can do this. It's just a matter about scaling because like right now as it stands, there's really only I think now four master chronometer movements. There's the mini GMT, the Black Bay ceramic, the Black Bay burgundy from last year, Watches and Wonders, and the now Black Bay monochrome. Even the new 58s or anything like that they come out with are not they're not master chronometer. It's really only those four reference codes so far, which is crazy. I also thought it was funny when everyone was gushing over the new Black Bay monochrome. They're like, "Oh yes, they finally gave us the watch we were looking for." And at first I thought it was a 58. I was like, "It looks a little big." Then it come to find out everyone's like 41. They're like, "This is amazing. It's the best Tudor it's ever been." I was like, "I thought you guys like 39 millimeters. What happened to that? Now we're back to
It's a
41."
little weird. Again,
I,
the comment sections are
I'm like, dude, what is? You guys need to be consistent, man. Like, are you for the 39 millimeter case? Are you for the 41? You said 42 is a big one. Like, I don't understand. Like, where are we at with
Black
this?
Bay up, Pelagos down, Pelagos
Yeah,
up, Black Bay down.
I mean, really, I mean that's kind of the idea. look, I'm just being a hater. I think Tudor did a great release this year, but like I told you off air, the thing that kind of surprises me the most about this is it was such a normal release in post several years that have been just characteristically bad releases that we think that this is like one of the greatest releases in modern time. You know what I mean?
Stockholm syndrome.
It's just yeah, it's just being beaten to a pulp, like waiting to get stuff that we finally want. That when they finally give us something that we want, like oh my god, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it's really just the most basic design. You took a very popular watch in the Black Bay GMT, you miniaturized it, and you made it a la Coke esque, and you sold it. It still got a little Fotina. It's still got the gilt. It's still got a Coke-ish design. And there you go. And I saw people even reposting the photos of this GMT like next to like an original sub GMT Coke or whatever. Not original sub, but an original GMT master, Coke, like from vintage days. And like, finally, we're getting the watch we've always wanted. I'm like, that's a Tudor and one's a Rolex. Okay. It's not the same watch. Tudor might be now what Rolex was 60 years ago,
Yeah.
but they're two different brands. So don't buy the Tudor because you think it's the Rolex. I don't know. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice time to get this because they're going to give you the master chronometer movement. You're getting a T-fit clasp, a lot of things that you weren't going to get if they put this out when people first started clamoring for it,
Yeah.
which is nice. But yeah, no, I'm just happy that somebody put out watches that people were looking for,
Yeah, for
as
sure.
opposed to like just like the tone deaf, like here's another friggin' Air King. we
Yeah.
t- we added ground guards. I put a millimeter on here. Like it's nice to see that some things are coming out that you're like, all right, like we didn't think that was ever going to happen, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess from there we could just transition in. Listen, I'm in the camp. I'm dead serious. I think Rolex took a knee this year. I think they were like, listen, we got to, we're trying to position Tudor next to Omega now.
Hmm.
We're trying to bring them up. They have a lot of exciting stuff. If we put out really big hitters, they're gonna be washed out. They're gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
second fiddle again.
That
Listen,
that
let's
that's
just put out some wax sauce stuff. We'll give them a gold sea dweller. We'll give them a weird color combination. Las Vegas Raiders GMT. Um, the 1908 I actually think probably is their best release of the year.
yeah. Yeah, I
I mean,
agree.
it's platinum,
I agree.
but it looks really nice.
I agree completely. And like I said a little while ago, is the years that Tudor shines, Rolex does not. The years that Rolex shines, Tudor does
I mean, it
not.
has to be planned, right? It has to.
It's 100
It
it's
doesn't make sense to
100%
cannibalize
planned.
your own offerings and being like, well, because very rarely are you going to have such. If you put out a hitter for Rolex, it's always going to trump the hitter from Tudor.
100%.
So
It's gonna
you,
it's
you
gonna
can't have them side by
cannibalize
side. Yeah,
it's gonna cannibalize everyone's focus. All the media is gonna be like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever." It's just silly to me. But regardless, it is what it is. That's what happens. But you're right. Rolex really, in my opinion, took an L this year, um, because they really released, like, I should say, they released things to the average public that were not exciting. The stuff that they released that was off catalog, which is what they normally do every single year, was pretty cool. You had some turquoise day dates. You had some ombre gradient dial day dates, in all different metals. They released that Oscars version with the anthracite gradient dial that was pretty in the rose gold. They did a dark blue ombre dial or fume dial, in a white gold president. Looked amazing. Um, I think that they did some more with like turquoise and things like that. So there's some off catalog stuff that they did that's going to be people are going to go crazy, which it is to be expected. The Daytona's like not a fan at all
Mother of
of.
Pearl bedazzled Daytona.
Yeah, definitely just highlighting the fact it's a chick's watch now. Yeah, I just not a fan at all. I mean, buy it for your girlfriend, buy it for your mistress, buy it for your lover, whatever, but it's just not a thing. But The Daytona that they got rid of though for sure is the white gold Le Mans, which everyone was freaking out about last year with the 100-year anniversary of it. But they replaced it with the same watch in now yellow gold.
In gold, yeah.
So it's like, okay, okay, 10-month production cycle, the white gold one. Here comes the yellow gold, baby. So I guess if you're on the list for the white gold one, you're not getting it. Maybe you can transfer your list positioning for the yellow gold one and take that L as well. Um, I'm sorry, you can't even call it Sea Dweller anymore. It's no longer the Sea Dweller Deep Sea. It's just the Deep Sea.
Yeah.
So that's a new change for Rolex. They switched to vernacular, which makes me believe at some point they'll probably do an update to the deep sea line, and put everything under the label for that would have been classified as a sea dweller. So they might just keep the normal sea dwellers, and then all of the deep seas will become now deep seas.
Well,
Uh,
this one might be a functionality move here because if you're going to sink your ass to the bottom, you want to be wearing something that's as heavy as a bowling ball in
you know
solid gold.
what? You could be onto something, my friend. You could be onto something. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like, what? Who asked for this? I saw somebody cover this, and they're like, "Yeah, it was like the everyone hates the bluesy," which I didn't think was possible. But
It's all right.
I mean, I didn't think people hated it though.
Bluesy's all right. Yeah, it's not.
But they're like, "Yeah, people hate the bluesy, so you're just gonna make like a fat bluesy." I was like, "Oh God,
It's
it's kind of
it's a
kind of
stock bro
true."
alpha dog watch. Like I gotta step on the black sub guy. So hey, take a look at this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm richer than you. Yeah, and but who's asking for this, man? Like why? This is sometimes I just ask myself, like, why? Why was this necessary? What product designer was like, all right, gold deep sea,
Nobody asked if they should.
mic drop, and everyone's like, yeah, that's it. Gonna be the fire. I'm like, okay, so DJ Khaled will have one, LeBron will have one, and Drake will have one. Uh, I mean, who are you making this watch for? NFL players, professional athletes, I guess.
Yeah,
I
got
mean,
me.
it's 44 millimeter watch in solid gold. I used to remember when people gave me crap when I was selling Omega back in the day, like, oh, you guys make a solid gold Planet Ocean chronograph. Who can wear this? Those same people are probably clapping like seals right now for the blue deep sea. I'm like, this is dumb. Keep it consistent, fam. Keep it consistent. But to your point, without going too negative, GMT sucked. I thought it was very boring, very uninspired, but they got to come up with a cool, corny nickname. So here we go. We got the Bruce Wayne
Oh,
GMT.
stop.
I'm
It's
just like, okay, just kill me. Just hit me with a truck and put it in reverse, make sure the job is done. Um, so we had the Bruce Wayne GMT. You and I both were just very unimpressed with this. Even people from Houdinki, we saw the video of just like people reacting to this, and they're feigning the fact that they have to enjoy it because they know it's boring. It's a very uninspired release. Um, and it's sad because everyone's, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, clapping like seals. And it's really not that impressive of a watch. It's a GMT with black and gray bezel on Jubilee or Oyster bracelet. And oh, it says GMT Master 2 in green, and the GMT hand has a green stick to it.
never done that before.
Oh my God. It's like, I guess it's like the spiritual successor to the original GMT Master 2 when they came out with like in 2010 or whatever. But I mean, come on. Like, this is a joke. You guys love that watch?
I just thought it was funny. People were saying that they bit the Seiko 5 GMT with the
I mean,
bezel.
it's true though, because I mean, technically, Seiko 5 had the black and gray GMT bezel first, right?
But even theirs is a little more exciting looking. Like it's got if you, the finish on the bezel is a little neater. It sort of
I mean,
fits in with that. I mean, people were popping the GMT bezel on the SKX anyway.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. This gray looks very flat, like cement color gray,
It's just not
a
attractive.
construction gray. And I'm just like, it's not sexy at all, at all. And by the way, if anybody's still listening to this, Rolex has the worst website right now to navigate. I said Cartier, it's
I was gonna
probably
say I thought
Rolex.
Cartier had it, but
Yeah, I mean it's they both suck. They were probably designed by the same
I was
people.
gonna say I think a lot of watch websites I've heard people on other shows go on them and they're like, this website is trash. I don't think
It's
much of their
so
budget
bad.
goes into website development.
I mean, I get it. They're trying to make it look more appealing and all that stuff, but I'm just like, dude, like this is not it. It is more difficult to navigate your website than it is to do like open heart surgery. Um, which is insane. But 1908, love the watch, especially in the platinum.
Yeah, it's very nice.
The ice blue guilloche dial or glacier blue guilloche dial, amazing. But I like this watch too for a reason I don't even know if I picked up on last time when the 1908 was launched. And that is because the 1908 one is a beautifully finished movement, 100%. It really finally showcases what Rolex can do with regards to movement finishing. I like that. Profile of the watch, I think it's under 9 millimeters thick.
Slim, yeah.
It's very, very slim, very beautiful. It's a traditional dress watch. We've been saying for several episodes that the dress watch is coming back. So get ready to put your divers away for a little bit. Dress watches are back.
Get your
Um,
lips.
and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure. But the reason why I really love the 1908 is because it's a new caliber from Rolex. But it's also one of the first ones to utilize their Siloxy silicon hairsprings.
And we're just making shit up with these
I know,
names.
but it says it. Up until just recently with the 1908's introduction, and I didn't catch this on the original launch of it, at least not that I remember, is they had Siloxy hairsprings. Um, the Siloxy hairsprings were only ever utilized in the ladies' Pearl Master date justs from back in the
Weird.
day. Because, well, most brands will do this with intention. So they'll release a new revolutionary technology in a very obscure line or a line that doesn't typically do as well as everything else because if it's a complete commercial failure, it's very easy to pull that off the technology or pull that technology off that respective model because not a lot of people bought it.
Yeah, I get that.
So the potential for a brand like Rolex to recall, a couple thousand pieces of something versus, hundreds of thousands of pieces is a lot easier if it is a commercial failure or it doesn't do well long term. So it's very easy to kind of test it to see how it performs, what the servicing is going to be like prior to scaling it to a full fledged production. They're obviously giving a lot of attention to the 1908, and I think it's because this might be one of their kind of flagship lines to really take them forward. But it also could be the building place for where they're going to develop some new technologies that might eventually roll into their professional line. And the 1908 is just beautiful enough where they can execute those types of things and bring it forward into the professional line. So we shall see, but that's kind of what my prediction is right now. As I feel like that's what they're doing. They're testing stuff out in 1908. They're seeing how they can get back to hand finishing. They're seeing how they can do these things in a more isolated format on a case by case basis, and seeing what they do. Because I mean, again, it's like we got to 1908s last year or the year before, and they were beautiful. This platinum version takes it up a step further because now we have dial work that
Yeah.
we didn't have on the previous models, and I think that's a huge step up for them. If they can continue that, this might be the platform where they can really be artistic, not only in their technological development for the movements, but also in the artistry in which gets them back to traditional watchmaking. Because let's be honest, the Submariner is not a pinnacle of traditional watchmaking. It's the most basic dive watch out in the market. It's just marketed very well.
Well, they just haven't changed it much since inception.
But that's the point, right? That's what makes it the sub.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
I don't know. There was a few things that caught my eye. I know Bell and Ross put out a ceramic watch that was kind of
Liked it.
neat.
Liked it.
A couple Grand Seikos I liked. I'm trying to think. Piaget and Bulgari did their
Oh
usual
yes,
pissing
the
contest.
thinness wars.
Yeah, the thinnest boys. That's exactly it.
So I think both of them take a prize this year though.
Yeah, they did in different categories.
Yeah, Piaget had the world's thinnest
Tourbillon, right?
tourbillon
Which is
at two
really kind of
millimeters.
wild.
It is insane. Again, going back to kind of like what we talked about with IWC, truly insane. And then Bulgari came out with the thinnest watch. So they still won the thinness wars, but Piaget now won the thinnest high complication wars, I guess. I don't know. It's crazy. But at least this time I didn't see any QR codes. So I guess that's a win, huh?
Yeah, although Bulgari recently did like that like sketch style, and I was like, oh my god, like where they like sketch the movement so it's not
Yeah, yeah,
skeletonized. And I was
yeah.
like, this is lame. Like, what are you?
You know, they gotta hire some designer and pay them a ton of money just so they can come out and make their watches ugly, and then they'll be, beautiful for somebody, I guess. I don't know who, but for somebody.
Yeah. But technologically, definitely cool. And
Yeah,
now
very
Richard
cool.
Mille is gonna have to come up with another business card watch.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? They took the crown, and I'm sure it pissed off both of them.
Oh yeah, because they came out of nowhere. They
Yeah,
didn't
it's
even know they were
nobody even
playing
knew they were
against
working on that
RM.
type of thing.
Nobody even knew they were playing against RM, and RM's like, "Hey, hold my beer. What's up?"
Yeah, that was wild.
I saw Hublot came out with some 38 millimeter big bangs. I was like,
Oh, yep.
"What?"
Not so big bang.
Yeah, the not so big bang. Oh man, wouldn't it be funny if that was actually the name?
I mean, they could certainly lean into that.
Hey,
The
you know what?
medium
They
bang.
they they came out with a pink sapphire big bang. Maybe we'll have to hit them up for
Dude, I'm trying
it's
to I'm trying to
it's
get people to put
it's
money.
only $121,000, bro. I'm sure somebody
Yeah,
can
definitely.
swing it for us. I mean, look, let's be
Although,
honest. Let's
uh,
be honest.
continue. God,
Retail value is 121,000. Market value is two.
I was gonna say I did forget these in the beginning. Zodiac put out that pink GMT I told you I knew about a long time ago, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it never came to market, and I felt like an idiot, but it finally did.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. So, yeah, I got to pull in the water on that one. So,
Fingers crossed. Fingers
I
crossed,
well,
ladies and
I
gentlemen.
know I at least know a guy for that one. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, but still.
we'll see. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else that caught my eye. I know there was a Chapek I thought was really neat. It had like a swirl pattern on it.
Yeah,
Looked really
it's
good.
oh God, what was it? It has a funky name. It starts with a P, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It looked good. It looked good though. It was a blue dial with like a white
The
swirl.
Promenade, that's what it's called. The
That's it.
Promenade. It looks like basically like you drop something in a lake and it just kind of like ripples out. It looked really really cool, especially around the second hand because it's got like an offset subseconds.
Right. Yeah, and it kind of radiates out from there. So
Yeah, I was like, that's it's quite beautiful actually. They make some nice stuff for sure. Yeah, the Promenade looks like a water droplet. Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah.
Take a walk on the style side is what they say.
All right. That's clever, I suppose.
Oh, but beautiful. I mean, Choppick is doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the watches are beautiful. They're just very expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly out of my price range.
Yep. Um, Anybody else you had in mind?
Um, oh, dude, how did we forget this?
What's that?
Braymont.
Oh, you know what? I had them in the dumpster fire category.
How did we
You're
forget
100%
that?
right about that. I can't believe we almost left that out.
Yeah, there's no way we can in good conscience finish this episode without
I
talking
mean,
about
what's going on there, man?
dude, it's bad. I mean, without going into too much detail because I what I was told was in confidence. There's been a lot of changes at
I was gonna
Braemont.
say it's got to be a rehash, right?
It's 100%, man. It's really bad. It's this is one of those situations where it's just kind of a corporate move and they're going to rebrand and do their thing after restructuring of some type. And again, I'm not going to go into detail because I was very adamant that I would not. But it's a change. Every single thing that we know of that was iconic to Braymont's design is dead. The triptych cases are gone. So this three-piece, cushion style case that protected the watches from shock, done. The motif of the case design inspired by plain propellers and plane or seaplane like pontoons that they would land on, all of these things gone, destroyed. The very classic simplistic logo with just a small propeller twist that underlined it, dead.
Yeah. I like that logo.
It was beautiful, and honestly it was a very original logo. This new logo is literally like it's literally like you asked ChatGPT to create you a logo, and this is what it came up with.
The Seattle Mariners had this as their logo for like 1 year and then they scrapped it.
I mean, this is just sad. It doesn't like the font is so blocky and angular and too aggressive. I mean, the overall design of these watches, they don't speak to anything that they did previously. And when you look at them, the one that really stuck out to me the most is their new version of the Supermarine.
Bro, I was gonna say this looks like an SKX mod on a Rulo Breitling bracelet.
No, you know what it really looks like to me? It's the freaking Mont Blanc diver.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Literally Google the Mont Blanc diver watch and then compare the cases and tell me it's not from the same manufacturer. Tell me it's not. There's no way that these cases didn't come from the same place.
Wow.
The lugs are almost identical. I mean, it's and maybe bro, we had to chop up a photo to put them side by side, but it's
Yeah.
literally their iced sea Mont Blanc diver is what this looks like to me. Even when you look at when you compare the case backs, okay? Compare the case backs with this deep aggressive cut in the case back, and it looks identical to the Mont Blanc in almost the same type of motif. Now, the Bremont version is not as intricate and it's not as nice of a design, but it's pretty similar. And then when you compare the clasp of the new Supermarine, it looks just like the Mont Blanc Ice Diver, like almost to the T,
Sheesh.
with the exception of the Mont Blanc printing on the clasp is raised, and the Bremont, I think it's raised as well, but the Mont Blanc has like two polished stripes that go down the bracelet clasp, and the Bremont's just kind of like a cut. But it has almost the same profile of clasp, and the push buttons are almost identical. Tell me they're not from the same factory.
Wow.
Which also leads you to believe that there's probably some issues with where these two watches are sourcing their components from. If they could be that similar, then they're coming from the same place. And it's probably not a place that they want people to know that it's coming from.
Yikes.
I mean, it's just insane. Quick
Wow.
change systems. Did you look it up? Are you seeing what I'm
Yeah.
seeing?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way it can't be not the same.
You can copy my homework, just change it a little
Yeah, I mean that,
bit.
but that's what it looks like, man. This is like it's like a Wish version of the Mont Blanc diver.
Or what do we have now? Timu? That's the new thing.
The Timu, that's right. Yeah. It's wild to me that this is the same Bremont.
Yeah, I know a few of our friends are very eaten up about it.
How could you not be?
That's tough. I used to like the Supermarine actually, the old one,
I mean,
2500, I think it was.
look, man, the Supermarine was cool. It had the weird, funky 2 o'clock crown. It was crazy with this triptych design on the case. It had the overly hardened steel that Bremont used to do. Like all that stuff is gonna die. Like it's crazy.
And on top of that, you got Christopher Ward making military watches now, so just eating your lunch.
Yeah, for a lot less. And they're also certified by the Her Majesty's, Her Majesty's Armed Forces or whatever it is in England. Crazy,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. That's a bad look.
I mean, how can your business continue to do, these specialty watches? Because the people that bought your watches like knew that you stood behind your product, knew that you were going to build something that was cool and inspired and was unique and different. And then what do you do now? Like, because I'll be honest with you, man. These
Fade
watches that
fade
they
into
debuted,
oblivion.
they ain't it, man. They ain't it.
Man, yeah, that's disappointing. That's a blow to the industry right there.
It is because whatever happened already happened, and I can bet money that when this went down, this is not the way that they would have seen a brand like Bremont going.
No.
You know, and this is the brand that came out of nowhere. Okay. It came out of nowhere. It was started by two people that were very passionate about it. They had one little snafu in the very beginning. I don't know if you remember Bremont Gate when they had like uh their first kind of quote unquote in-house movement
Oh
that
yeah. Yep.
wasn't actually an in-house movement at all. But these are two guys that came from outside the industry that didn't really know the specific determination between that. And the watch industry took them to the mat, and they got crucified for a
Hey,
hot
you live,
minute
you
about it.
learn.
You live, you learn, and you move on. But they knew at some point they wanted to make their movements in house, and so they were kind of working towards that step. They had released that one funky caliber that was the kind of that integrated Bremont design
Yeah, I
from like a
remember
year
that.
or two ago.
Yep.
Didn't really jive with me, but it was a step in the right direction for them internally as a company to produce. But like, what do you have now? Nothing that looks even
Terra
remotely.
Nova.
I mean, and you look at it, it's like the numbers are ginormous.
Yeah,
Then
they're
you
just
have like a
they just
small
seem like
seconds
they're
and a power reserve. I'm
yeah, they
like,
seem like they're not that well thought out.
no, this is literally like you asking Chat GPT to come up with a freaking, or you ask, not Chat GPT, but you ask AI to come up with a watch design that has military heritage. Like, this is what they're going to come up with. This looks like a freaking catalog of just like random cases and dials from like a case and dial supplier from China. Like, that's what they're going to give you. Like, here are your options, blue or green. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's gonna be.
Yeah, it's rough. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just disappointing.
It's super disappointing, and it's really sad because to basically start something like this from nothing and then to see it devolve into something like this must be literally soul crushing because it is for me to witness it. And I know a lot of you out there that have owned Bremont or have been a fan of them from afar for several years, the way that I have. This hurts you because this was a brand that was truly unique, had its own identity, carved its own path, designed its own aesthetics, and created its own lineage from nothing. And to see it devolve into something like this is just the worst. It's literally it's literally a kick in the balls.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Not even a little bit. So I feel for them. I wish them all the very best of luck. They're certainly going to need it. Whatever's going on, Bremont is going on. So I wish them all the best. But this is gonna be a hard one for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think on that depressing note, I don't think there's anything else I can
Oh,
think of I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, all right. We'll see this one out, folks. Uh hope you weren't too depressed that we faked our own death there. But we're back and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks for stopping in. Till next time.
take care.
Later.